SLT Fibre and experience the power of fibre technology. Sri Lanka's only super fast internet connection. SLT Fibre. Call 1212.
Tonight, largest international presence after terror attacks. Over 21,000 Dawoodi Bohras from across the globe gather in Colombo to mark Ashara Mubaraka. Structural hindrances. Chairman of SRPP, Professor G.L. Piri says too many checks and balances in the government obstruct political leaders from carrying out duties.
And the result is gridlock, anarchy. Nothing moves at all.
A stab in the back. SRP General Secretary Dayasri Jayasekara laments division within party, but disappointed with SRP membership granted to two of its members. In search of refuge. Protests spark across Australia as a Sri Lankan asylum seeker family is at the risk of being deported back to the island. All these stories and much more coming up on First at 9 this Sunday, the 1st of September 2019.
Nava Lifebuoy Cool Fresh සහ Lemon Fresh Menthol සහ Lemon සාරයෙන් දහදිය ගඳ ඇති කරන සැඟවුණු විස බීජ වලින් ආරක්ෂා කර ඔබව fresh කරයි. විස බීජ off, fresh එක on.
From AdaDerana, this is AdaDerana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
A very good evening and welcome to First at 9, AdaDerana 24, Sri Lanka's news channel. I am Katrina Chang. On your top story tonight, Colombo began to host the largest international event following the Easter Sunday bombings today. The Bohra Global Convention 2019 has attracted thousands from the Dawoodi Bohra community from across the world in Sri Lanka. This convention, marking Ashara Mubaraka during the first 10 days of the Muslim month of Muharram, will be held until the 10th of this month.
With the recent arrival of His Holiness Dr. Saidna Mufaddal Saifuddin, the 53rd Dai al-Mutlaq and the head of the Dawoodi Bohra community, more than 21,000 Dawoodi Bohras from 40 countries have arrived in Colombo to participate in the annual Bohra Global Convention in Colombo this year. The Bohra Convention, or Ashura Mubaraka, refers to a period of 10 days at the beginning of the Islamic year dedicated to the remembrance of the Prophet Muhammad and his family and kin, specifically his grandson Imam Hussein. Although Dawoodi Bohra centers across the world will host this event locally for members in their cities, the gathering led by His Holiness Dr. Saidna Saifuddin, which varies from city to city each year, is considered the main convention. This year's main convention is hosted by Colombo at the Husseini Masjid Mosque. Meanwhile, a traffic and security plan is in place for Colombo, especially for the Bohra Global Convention.
මුහුදුබඩ මාර්ගයේ වැල්ලවත්ත දුම්රිය ස්ථානයේ පසුකර මද දුරක් යන විට මාර්ගයේ දකුණු පසට හරවහ වාහන ගාලු පාර දෙසට ගමන් කළ යුතු වෙනවා. ඒ අනුව ඉල්ලා සිටිනවා රියදුරන්ගෙන් මේ දින 10ක කාලය තුලදී හැකිතාක් දුරට කොළඹට ඇතුල් වන වාහන ගාලු පාරත් කොළඹින් පිටවන වාහන ඩුප්ලිකේෂන් මාර්ගයත් භාවිතා කරන්න කියලා.
The House-Top Chief Magistrate meanwhile issued an order today preventing unauthorized demonstrations within the House-Top Court's jurisdiction ahead of the Bohra Global Conference which commenced today. Police media spokesperson SP Duangudasekara stated that the order will be in effect until the 10th of September. It has been directed to several individuals and groups, including convener of the Sinhala Jatika Balamuluwa, Venerable Madille Panna Lokatera, and convener of the Ravana Balaya, Venerable Itakande Sadhatissa Thera, who were planning to protest against the conference. As per the order, unauthorized protests, meetings and marches are banned from the area until the determined time period. Chairman of the Sri Lanka Polujana Perumuna, Professor G.L. Piri, is of the view that political leaders are prevented from effectively carrying out their duties owing to too many checks and balances within the government structure. Speaking at an event organized by the SRPP last evening, he went on to say that this has caused gridlock and anarchy within the state.
The inaugural convention of the Sri Lanka Polujana Perumuna Lawyers Association was held in Colombo last evening. The event was held under the auspices of the leader of SRPP, opposition leader Mahinda Rajapaksa, and presidential candidate Gotabaya Rajapaksa. Among the participants were former Chief Justices Sarath N. Silva and Mohan Pires.
As of now, your constitution can be amended, has been amended 19 times. But since some people have this anxiety, it is better constitutionally speaking, while you concede power to the parliament to amend any provision of the constitution, but there should be some core of your constitution as the identity of your constitution. No government, howsoever powerful it is, whatever majority it has, should be able to change that identity. It is better that your constitution itself, there should be an amendment and you should identify that these are the basic structures which cannot be changed.
I think one area where we have gone wrong is that we are afraid of political power. There's no need to be afraid of political power. Political power is an instrument of public service. We have in our country, particularly in the recent past, made it impossible for people we elect to do an effective job because we have imposed too many checks and balances. You have one part of the government stultifying everything that the other part of the government is doing. And the result is gridlock, anarchy. Nothing moves at all. Elect a leader in whom you have confidence. Do not then prevent him from doing a job of work by imposing all manner of restrictions, which brings government to a standstill. That is a fundamental error that we have made in Sri Lanka. We have emphasized rights, but we have neglected obligation. Now, I think Sri Lanka's provisions with regard to fundamental rights are in need of radical change. The Supreme Court must not be the only court that has jurisdiction to go into this issue. A humble man in the village must have a simpler, less expensive, quicker mechanism to get his problems addressed. I think the law has a very significant role to play in welding together the different communities in this country, emphasizing what they have in common, which is far, far greater than the things that divide us. Why can we not subsume all these differences in a national legal system? What is the use of having a constitution which is perfect in theory, but in a country where the government of the day has been able to postpone all election indefinite? And let us start by holding the local government election, which the Supreme Court has ordered, should be not after the presidential election.
General Secretary of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party parliamentarian Dasri Jayasekara criticized the Sri Lanka Podujana Perumuna for granting party memberships to MPs SPD Sanayaka and Dilan Pereira at a time where the two parties were close to reaching an agreement on an alliance. Speaking at an event in Megalave at Katugampola today, the General Secretary of the SLP went on to accuse the SLPP of attempting to divide the Sri Lanka Freedom Party.
දැන් මේ ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂ දෙකට කැඩලානේ තියෙන්නේ. දැන් බලන්න මේ දීග යන්න අපි ඔන්න මෙන්න කියලා ඔක්කොම සාකච්ඡා දැන් ගිය සතියේත් අපි ගිහලා බැසිල් රාජපක්ෂ මහත්තයත් එක්ක කතා කරා. ගෝඨාභය රාජපක්ෂ මහත්තයත් එක්කත් කතා කරා. දැන් බඳින්න ලෑස්තිලා ඉන්නකොට අර එස්.පී. සානක මහත්තයවයි දිලාන් පෙරේරා මහත්තයාටයි අරන් ගිහලා දුන්නා සමාජික පත්‍රය. එතකොට අපිට රිදෙන්නේ නැද්ද? මෙහෙ කතා කරනවා මෙහෙ අපේ මිනිස්සු ගන්න දවස ගන්න අරගෙන සමාජිකත්වයක් දෙනවා. එතකොට ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂ මේ දිය කරන්න හදනවා කියන එක තේරෙන්නේ නැද්ද අපිට? අපි මේ මොඩියෝ කියලා හිතුවා. ඒගොල්ලෝ ජනාධිපති අපේක්ෂකත්වපත් කරගෙන දැන් අගමැති අපේක්ෂකත්වපත් කරගෙන ලාංඡනයකුත් හදාගෙන පෙරමුණකුත් හදාගෙන ඉතින් අපිට ඒකේ මොකද්ද තියෙන්නේ? පහුගිය මැතිවරණයේදී පොජන පෙරමුණ පොට්ටුවෙන් ඉල්ලුවා අපි ශ්‍රී ලංකේක අතින් ඉල්ලුවා සමහර තැන්වල බුලත් කොලින් ඉල්ලුවා. එතකොට දැන් අපේ කට්ටිය අහනවා සර් අපි කොහොමද කියලා පොට්ටුවට ඡන්ද ඉල්ලන්නේ? එතකොට ශ්‍රී ලංකේක ඉවරයි. හැබැයි අපි පොදු ලකුණකින් ආවා. අපි හිතමු අපි පොට්ටුවෙන් හැර අපි පුටුවෙන් නැත්තම් බුලත් කොලෙන් නැත්තම් වෙනත් ඕනම ලකුණකින් ආවනම් මෛත්‍රී බාලසේන මැතිතුමයි මහින්ද රාජපක්ෂ මැතිතුමයි ගෝඨාභය රාජපක්ෂ මැතිතුමාලා ඔය ඔක්කොම එකතු වෙලා හරි කමන්නේ අපිට එක වේදිකාවකට ඇවිල්ලා අපිට කතා කරන්න පුළුවන්. එහෙම නොවෙනවා නම් තමයි අපිට සිද්ධ වෙන්නේ පක්ෂ බේර ගන්න. මහා ජාතියට සුළු ජාතිය යට කරන්න බෑ වගේම මහා පක්ෂ වලට සුළු පක්ෂ යට කරන්නත් බෑ ඉඩ තියන්නෙත් නෑ අපි.
The Pivituru Helurumea today officially pledged their support to SLPP presidential candidate Gotabaya Rajapaksa in a written document. Opposition leader Mahinda Rajapaksa, who was present at the occasion, meanwhile pledged to end an era where people are afraid to enter religious sites.
අටහිර පර්යේෂණ පත්‍රිකා මේ දිනවල නිරන්තරයෙන් උපුටා දක්වන කාරණයක් තමයි වර්තමාන ආණ්ඩුවේ අසාර්ථකත්වයට ප්‍රධානතම හේතුව ජනාධිපතිවරයා සහ අගමැතිවරයා අතර තියෙන ගැටුමයි. මෙතරම් සමගියෙන් කටයුතු කළ හැකි බව ක්‍රියාවෙන් ඔප්පු කළ ජනපති අගමැති අපේක්ෂක යුවලක් වෙනත් කිසිම පක්ෂයකට ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න බෑ කියන අභියෝගය අද අපි ඉදිරිපත් කරනවා.
අපි රටවලින් ණය ගන්නට පුළුවන්. ගිවිසුම් අස්සන්න කරන්නට පුළුවන් කුමන දෙයක් කරත් එය හුදෙක් වෙළඳ ගිවිසුමක් පමණක් මිස අපේ රටේ ස්වෛරීභාවය පාවා දෙන හෝ සම්පතක් පාවා දෙන ගිවිසුමක් වෙන්නට පුළුවන් කමක් නැහැ.
මේ අවුරුදු 4ක් තිස්සේ මේ ආණ්ඩුවෙන් රට පාවා දුන්නා හැර රටට අලුත් දෙයක් දුන්නේ නැහැ. අපිට තිබිච්ච ආරක්ෂාව අපෙන් නැති වුණා. ඉතිහාසයේ පළවෙනි වතාවට පල්ලිය කෝවිල පන්සල මේ කිසි දෙයකට යන්න බැරි යුගයක් බිහි වුණේ. මේ ආණ්ඩුව යුගය කියන එක අමතක කරන්න එපා. අන්න ඒ යුගය අවසන් කරන්නයි අද අපිට සිද්ධ වෙලා තියෙන්නේ.
Presidential hopeful of the National People's Power JVP leader Anura Kumara Dissanayaka says that an immediate dialogue with political supporters of all parties will commence at grassroots level to address their burning issues. Dissanayaka expressed these views in the first event of his election campaign organised in Colombo.
The summit of local government councillors of JVP dubbed Village and Country Should Gather in Colombo was held in Colombo today.
පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ වුණුත් ඉන්නවා අපිත් ඉන්නවා. අපිට වඩා වැඩියෙන් වුන් ඉන්නවා. හැබැයි පාර්ලිමේන්තු කාර්යභාරයේදී අපි ඔවුන් අභිබවා මේ රටේ ජනතාව වෙනුවෙන් කාර්යභාරය ඉටු කොට තිබෙනවා. ජාතික දේශපාලනයේදී අපි මොනතරම් උඩින් ශක්තිමත්ව සිටියත් ගමේදී ප්‍රාදේශීය වශයෙන් අපි අත්පත් කරගත යුතු ජයග්‍රහණ අත්පත් කරගෙන නැහැ. ඒ නිසා අපි අනිවාර්ය ලෙස අනෙකුත් පාක්ෂිකයන් සමග සංවාදය අපි ආරම්භ කරන්න ඕන. කවුරුවත් එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂයට කතරේ ගැහුවේ නැහැ මහ බැංකුව කඩපන් කියලා. ඒ නිසා එක්සත් ජාතික පාක්ෂිකයන්ගේ අරමුණු යහපත්. හැබැයි ඔවුන්ගේ අරමුණත් ඔවුන්ගේ නායකයන්ගේ අරමුණත් එකිනෙකට පරස්පරයි. මහින්ද රාජපක්ෂ මහත්මයාගේ කඳවුර බැලුවත් එහෙමයි. ඒ නිසා ගමේ ඉන්න එක්සත් ජාතික පාක්ෂික ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පාක්ෂිකයත් එක්ක තරහ වීමෙන් රණ්ඩු කර ගැනීමෙන් පළක් නැහැ. ඔවුන්ගේ උවමනාවන්ට සරිලන පාලනයක් ගොඩනැගිය හැකි වන්නේ ජනතා විමුක්ති පෙරමුණ පෙරටු කරගත් ජාතික ජනබලවේගයේ වෙත බලය අත්පත් කර දීමෙන් පමණක් කියන පණිවිඩය වුන් වෙත ගෙන යනවා.
Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe lauded the efforts of the government in stabilising the economy and emphasised the importance of clearing off the debt burden within the next 5 years. He added that the country is ready to move to the next stage of the economy, which is to compete in the world market by strengthening local businesses, but warned that the recovery might not be possible if disrupted now. He expressed these thoughts addressing a ceremony in Kolyapitiya.
අපේ පක්ෂේ ලාංඡනය අලියා වගේ තමයි අපේ පක්ෂේ නායකයත් මම නම් දකින්නේ. කලබලයක් නැහැ. ගන්න ඕන වෙලාවට තීන්දුව తీරන ගන්නවා. එතුමා නිසා තමයි මේ තාමත් කැඩෙන්නේ නැතුව වෙන පක්ෂ කැඩලා යද්දි එතුමාගේ ඉවසීම නිසා තමයි එතුමා ඔක්කොමත් අරගෙන අද මේ පක්ෂය ජයග්‍රහණය කරා මේවන්න කියලා මම තමුන්නාසලට කියනවා. අපි ආර්ථිකය ස්ථාවරය කරලා තියෙන්නේ. ඔබ සියලු දෙනාටම අපේ පරම්පරාවේ ණය බාර දෙන්න මම ලෑස්ති නැහැ. බොක් වගේ ණය වෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඒත් අපි කොහොමවත් ඊළඟ අවුරුදු 5ේදී ඒක ගෙවන ශක්තිය ඇති කරනවා කියලා මං කියන්න කැමතියි. අද රෑ රූපවාහිනිය දැම්මම මට බයිනවා. හෙට උදේ රූපවාහිනිය දැම්මම මට බයිනවා. එක්කෙනෙක්ව සුදු වෙන්නේ ගෙනිච්චද? සම්පූර්ණ නිදහස එක්ක අද යන්න තියෙන්නේ. අනාගතයට අපි රට ලෑස්ති කරලා තියෙන්නේ. දැන් තියෙන්නේ අපිට විශාල අපනයන ආර්ථිකයක් ඇති කරන්න. ලෝක වෙළඳ පොළට ගිහින් තරඟ කරන්න. අපේ ව්‍යාපාරිකයන් එකට ශක්තිමත් කරන්න. නැත්තම් මේක විනාශ කරොත්
The Sri Lankan asylum seeker family who were halted mid-air while being deported from Australia have been moved to the detention island in Christmas Island. The move sparked thousands of people to rally in cities and towns across Australia in support of the Lankan family. Supporters of the family who campaigned against the deportation decision, meanwhile, ensured that the Australian opposition leader Anthony Albanese spoke directly to Prime Minister Scott Morrison, urging him to stop the family from being deported.
A flight carrying a Sri Lankan asylum seeker family deported from Australia was halted mid-air in Darwin as activists intervened in stopping them being flown to Sri Lanka last week. Activists and supporters of the family managed to halt the midnight deportation as an injunction granted mid-air, pausing the removal of the family of 4.
Let them stay! Let them stay!
However, Australian Home Affairs Minister Peter Dutton told local media outlets that they are not owed protection by Australia, adding that the family's asylum claim was comprehensively assessed and rejected by immigration authorities. Meanwhile, the deportation of the youngest girl in the Sri Lankan family is put on hold until next Wednesday after federal court ruled on Friday to delay the deportation until her case is heard. Australian News Today reported that the family is now moved to Christmas Island after being given a reprieve against deportation from Australia until Wednesday. They quoted supporters of the family who said they lost contact with the family on Friday night but learned just after 2 a.m. that they had arrived at a detention centre on the island northwest of Australia. In the latest updates about the family's case, Australian opposition leader Anthony Albanese has spoken directly to Prime Minister Scott Morrison, urging him to stop the deportation of the asylum seeker family currently being held on Christmas Island, calling it publicly funded cruelty. The intervention comes as thousands of people rallied in cities and towns across Australia today, including the regional Queensland town of Biloela, in a bid to force the government to let Priya, Nalasalingam and their two Australian-born children, Kopika aged 4 and Tarunika aged 2, remain in the country.
Through and translation and separated from their supporters and family and friends. They are very good to good people in community. I think people just came up and want to support them.
And with that, we go into a short commercial break, so stay tuned for more local news right after this. Welcome back. Sri Lanka Gem and Jewellery Association urges the government to increase its involvement with the private sector in developing the industry. Speaking at the Facets International Gem and Jewellery Exhibition at the BMICH recently, the association's chairman Ashan Refai expressed dismay over Sri Lanka failing to breach the $1 billion export mark in the industry, as country is not renowned for precious stones achieve 10 times that business.
We struggle to achieve $1 billion target, and you may wonder why this is so. The answer may be found by looking overseas. Thailand has become an international trading hub for gems and jewelry and generates a staggering $12 billion in export revenue, while the exports from Hong Kong notch $30 billion. Unlike Sri Lanka, neither of these countries are famous gem producers. Our successive governments should take a proactive stand in consultation with the private sector to study and learn about the policies adopted by these experienced gem and jewelry hubs to encourage the growth of the industry. Our dealers visit the mines in Tanzania, Madagascar, and compete with the other nationals, including the Thais, to bring back valuable rough gemstones. They live in those countries for months in the most difficult conditions, risking their lives in the process. Once the stones are brought back and value added, their exports are taxed. We must encourage not only our local dealers to bring in rough, but also foreigners from African gem producing countries to bring in rough material and sell in Sri Lanka. It is also sad to note that the National Gem and Jewellery Authority has had 3 chairmen over the last year, and 7 chairmen have changed since 2015. Our exporters have set up a fund for over 10 years under the National Gem and Jewellery Authority to establish an internationally reputed gem laboratory. It is sad to note that the money collected by the exporters, even after a decade, is still unused in the bank account without proper direction. Today, dealers have to send gemstones either to Bangkok or Hong Kong in order to certify them, and this wastes valuable foreign exchange. A certificate could cost between $200 to $4,000 depending on the urgency and the quality of the stone. Had the initiative been taken 10 years ago, Sri Lanka could have risen to prominence as a hub for certifying stones and would have saved millions of dollars in foreign exchange. I sincerely urge the successive governments, the National Gem and Jewellery Authority and the Export Development Board to create a master plan in consultation with the private sector to develop the gem and jewellery industry.
China and the United States have begun imposing additional tariffs on each other's goods today, which is the latest escalation in a bruising trade war. A new round of tariffs took effect with Beijing's levy of 5% on US crude, marking the first time the fuel has been targeted since the world's 2 largest economies started their trade war more than a year ago. The Trump administration will begin collecting 15% tariffs on more than $125 billion in Chinese imports, including smart speakers, Bluetooth headphones, and many types of footwear. In retaliation, China started to impose additional tariffs on some of the US goods on a $75 billion target list. The extra tariffs of 5% and 10% were levied on 1,717 items of a total of 5,078 products originating from the United States. Market analysts expect the Colombo bourse to react positively in the coming week following the central bank's decision to reduce its policy interest rates by 50 basis points. At the end of trading on Friday, the all-share price index, the ASPI, lost 0.15%, while the S&P SL 20 gained 0.19%. We have Dimantha Matthew from First Capital Holdings with market expectations.
We expect the bond yields to be a bit volatile during the coming week with the existing selling pressure, especially in the foreign side, continuing, and also the lower level of local buying interest. If you take the stock market, we believe it is likely to continue to react positively with the current low interest rate environment. With the heavy interest in the retail and high net worth segment, we expect heavy interest specifically on the mid-cap counters. Blue chip counters are likely to remain dull with the foreign selling to be dominant in the blue chip counters. In an environment where the rupee is weak, we expect selling pressure import dependent counters, specifically in the construction sector.
But we will go into a short commercial break right now, but make sure you stay tuned for more news right after. Thousands of demonstrators have taken to streets across Britain in protest against British Prime Minister Boris Johnson's decision to suspend Parliament. In London, crowds chanted outside the gates of Downing Street against UK Prime Minister Johnson, who has radically promised Brexit with or without a deal and to close Parliament for 23 working days. It means the House of Commons will sit only for a few days after it returns next Tuesday from its summer recess. Parliament will then resume with the state opening of Parliament by the British monarch on the 14th of October, just over 2 weeks before Britain's planned departure from the European Union. Meanwhile, members of the Parliament who will return next week will also be working to overturn Johnson's plans.
Undermine democracy here in Britain.
He's trying to force through his agenda without letting MPs debate and scrutinise it.
Meanwhile, protests in Hong Kong turned violent, with police having used physical force to tackle suspected protesters after thousands of people marched in the city in defiance of a ban. Videos emerged of police officers assaulting people with batons and using pepper spray on a train in Hong Kong's metro. Police say they were called to the scene amid violence against citizens by radical protesters. However, it is unclear if all those injured and arrested in the metro system were involved in demonstrations. People took to the streets last night to mark the 5th anniversary of China's government banning fully democratic elections in Hong Kong. Meanwhile, Hurricane Dorian intensified into a dangerous Category 5 storm as it hit the Bahamas today, expected to pound the island with up to 2 days of torrential rain, high waves and damaging winds before taking aim at the US mainland. On Great Guana Cay, just off Great Abaco Island, waves began washing over low-lying parts of the tiny 9-mile strand of land that is only about a quarter-mile wide by mid-morning. Although some residents left for Nassau and elsewhere days ago, some 200 to 300 are riding out of the storm on Great Guana Cay, where power was already out, and forecasters are predicting up to 2 feet of rain and 20-foot storm surges. Dorian's 280 km/h wind speeds have put the storm among the most dangerous in the recent history. Forecasters warn that it could be the region's worst since the Category 5 hurricane Andrew killed 65 people and destroyed 63,000 homes in 1992. The first T20 match between Sri Lanka and New Zealand is currently underway at the Pallekele International Cricket Stadium. Batting first, Sri Lanka scored 174 for the loss of 4 wickets. Kusal Mendis top scored with 79, while Dick Wall contributed with 33 to the total. Black Caps skipper Tim Southee picked 2 Sri Lankan wickets at the expense of 20 runs. New Zealand are currently on 39 for the loss of 3 wickets. And with that, we conclude this edition of First at 9. Thank you for joining us and have a pleasant evening.